Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. EU continues to support Ukraine and Kyiv prepares for counter-assault in Bakhmut. U.S. Navy moves a missile destroyer near the contested Paracel Islands in the South China Sea, and Beijing warns the ship to depart from the area. And international oil prices record decrease amid fears of oversupply. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. European Union leaders held talks yesterday with UN Chief Antonio Guterres on global food security and sanctions imposed on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine, and also endorsed a plan to supply more artillery shells to Kyiv. Guterres' participation in the EU summit came days after the renewal of a deal brokered by the United Nations and Turkey on the safe export of Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea that is seen as crucial to overcoming a global food crisis. EU Chief Executive Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said any new sanctions against Russia would mostly crack down on the circumvention. She also said the EU would work with other organizations to find Ukrainian children deported to Russia and press for their return. The International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin last week for illegal deportation of Ukrainian children. The United States has pushed back against Russian demands that Western sanctions be eased before Moscow allows Ukrainian Black Sea grain exports to continue beyond mid-May, saying there are no restrictions on Russian farm products or fertilizers. The EU leaders endorsed a plan agreed by foreign ministers on Monday to send 1 million artillery shells to Ukraine over the next year.
But this is certainly not enough, and therefore
Ukrainian troops on the defensive for 4 months will soon launch counter-assault as Russia's huge winter offensive weakens without capturing the eastern city of Bakhmut, Ukraine's top ground forces commander said. The remarks on yesterday were the strongest indication yet from Kyiv that is close to shifting tactics, having absorbed Russia's onslaught through a brutal winter. There was no immediate response from Moscow to suggestions its forces in Bakhmut were losing momentum, but Wagner boss Yevgeny Brezhnev issued a statement in recent days warning of Ukrainian counter-assault. On Monday, Brezhnev published a letter to Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu saying Ukraine aimed to cut off Wagner's forces from Russia's regular troops. China's defense ministry has said that it had for a second time monitored and driven away the U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer USS Milius after it entered what Beijing claims as its territorial waters in the South China Sea near the Paracel Islands. The Southern Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army (PLA) said in a statement yesterday that the USS Milius had been found intruding in waters around the Paracel Islands and that China's Navy and Air Forces were mobilized to warn the ship, which had then departed the area. As China issued its second protest and warnings today, the U.S. Navy issued a lengthy statement specifying that the USS Milius had engaged in asserting navigational rights and freedoms in the South China Sea near the Paracel Islands, consistent with the international law. The USS Milius' freedom of navigation operation was a lawful use of the sea and challenged restrictions on innocent passage imposed by the People's Republic of China, PRC, and also Taiwan and Vietnam, who also have territorial claims in the disputed South China Sea, the U.S. Navy said. Meanwhile, hundreds of people were evacuated as a major forest fire raged in Spain's eastern Castellón region today, marking an early start to the nation's fire season amid bone-dry conditions. The president of the Valencia region that incorporates Castellón told reporters that the fire had engulfed around 1,000 acres of land since it broke out yesterday and was very early in the spring, very voracious from the beginning. Emergency services in the region state 600 people in 8 towns have been evacuated, including a home for elderly people in Montan. The president of Valencia region also added that the effects of climate change are undeniable, so the perspective of firefighting must be considered on an annual basis. As of early Friday, 4 helicopters and more than 600 firefighters and soldiers were tackling the fire as the Spanish military deployed additional support to try to bring the blaze under control. International oil prices continued to record losses amid fears of oversupply after a statement from the U.S. Secretary of Energy that refilling U.S. strategic oil reserve will take years. Brent crude oil futures declined by 48 cents, standing at $75.43 per barrel. Meanwhile, West Texas crude oil futures declined by 52 cents, reaching $69.44 per barrel. Oman oil price May delivery decreased by 92 cents to reach $75.18 per barrel. The average price of Oman crude oil March delivery reached $80.92 per barrel, thus $3.49 higher than the price of February delivery. To facilitate and streamline government services, Governorate of Musandam launched the first phase of the Digital Transformation Plan. The Musandam Governor Office launched its portal that contains information on the Governorate and the available online public services. The platform also offers public channels to submit initiatives and proposals and to track the status updates of government services. The Musandam Governor Office upgraded its communication channels, shifting from the analog system to IP phoning system and adopting a video conferencing technology to further improve governmental services. In the Wilaya of Sahar, a TEDx conference was held attracting inspirational and innovative speakers to share their experience and lessons in technology, arts, science, and education. Speakers from the Sultanate of Oman, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Kingdom of Bahrain participated in TEDx platform. The event aims at providing a platform to deliver and discuss ideas worth spreading and to highlight the richness of contents and the ideas from countries across the globe. The Office of Bahraini Governor organized an intra-governmental meeting to discuss a number of short to medium-term development plans carried out in the wilayas of Bahraini. Regional officials in Bahraini gathered also to coordinate and review current and future projects and their assigned timelines. During the meeting, projects to increase the number of schools and health institutions in the wilayas of Baremi were highlighted in response to population increase. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. EU continues to support Ukraine and Kiev prepares for counter-assault in Bakhmut. U.S. Navy moves a missile destroyer near the contested Paracel Islands in the South China Sea, and Beijing warns the ship to depart from the area. And international oil prices record decrease amid fears of oversupply. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios is good night and stay safe.